Okay, I'm showing how I assembled this two-wheel robot with the front kind of a skid ball on it. This is from Adafruit. It's their Cricket power board, the green board, and then on top of that is the Circuit Playground Express microcontroller. We've got two motors, and I'll show you that they chose to use the yellow motors, and I'm choosing the red Lego Technics compatible motors. I 3D printed this purple base plate. I'll show you in another video that we don't need to 3D print this plate. I did it because that's the instructions that they show. I'm also using a different servo motor. This gray motor is a different motor than the one that Adafruit shows in their robotics product. They show a different motor. This one, again, is Lego compatible. It just snaps on to these beams with two black pins. Now, to mount these different Lego compatible parts, I've used super glue to glue the black pins onto the underside of the base. But then the other Technics parts, like the motors and this white 5x7, can be pulled off of those pins. Here's the code. I'll put a link to this code in the description of the video. When you click on the code link, it will install this whole Make Code for Adafruit environment. Here is the link that shows their project with 3D printed parts. Like I say, they use the yellow TT motors. I'm using the red Lego compatible motors. They're less costly and they hook in directly. I did something. I added these wires so that the motors can plug into these motor outputs. They give a link that shows this entire project on this page. I'll put a link to this page. Here is what the motor board looks like. In this case, they're advertising it that it has the CPX mounted on it. The motor board itself is $29.95, and it looks like that is in stock. From Adafruit, this CPX is not in stock, but you can get it on eBay or very cheaply elsewhere. This shows what the CPX is composed of, for those of you who are interested in electronics. Here's the integrated circuit board right here. Microcontroller ATS-AMD21. So there will be more about this. Now you can get an idea of the design for the two-wheel Cricket with a CPX on top car using the yellow motors. I'll put a link to this PDF file. If you've got the CPX and you buy the Cricket, you can build a Lego compatible bot car. In this case, we printed the base. We've got our CPX. I'm going to be using these screws from the hardware store, Ace Hardware store, as my standoffs. Here they use brass standoffs. That would be this type thing. But these are cheaper and they're adjustable in length. You can buy screws that are different lengths, much longer if you want more space. I believe what we're only trying to do here is make a way of threading our motor wiring and our the wiring for the batteries. The batteries go under the Cricut on top of the Lego compatible base. So I'll show you how we'll do it. Now you can see how we've got our motors attached with pins, black pins, and I've actually glued the black pins onto the base plate. The base plate, two separate printed parts that are bolted together with these bolts. These are M3 with a 0.5 pitch. The pitch doesn't matter as long as the nuts fit on the bolts. The bolt length is kind of important. We want to be able to get our battery pack under the Cricut. We're running the wires out through this hole so they'll plug in to the motor ports on the Cricut. I'll show you that in a minute. What we want to do, we want to make sure that our axles are aligned. And to do that, one motor has to be flipped over compared with the other motor in order to have these axles aligned. We're not using the yellow TT motors. We're not using those. We're using the Lego compatible motors. There are different ways to attach them. You could attach a 5x7 block and then attach the motor to that. In this case, I just glued the black pins directly to the base that has these, they call them tubes. Some people call them anti-studs. So we'll show you from here how we go to the next step.